Welcome to the Glamour and the Grief, a D&D 5e actual play podcast about a man who fell down in a little bit of a sewer, we'll call it, and woke up in a fairy tale, where beauty's a weapon and wishes come in fine print, and nothing is quite what it seems. So I'm your Dungeon Master Zari from Muses Mythos, and with us here we have...
Face. Hey.
And I think we'll save introducing your character until next session so that we can let people describe it. But let's get in here and fall through our looking glass. So, we are in New York City, the city of dreams, the city of destruction, the city that never sleeps. Late at night, under stars barely peeking through fog, the dull and distant sounds of honking and conversations that drift through the air, music blares out of a bar somewhere, people are yelling, dogs are barking, and a man hums to himself as he stumbles out of a barely labeled doorway into a back alley. And Chase, would you tell us what we see? What does your character look like?
I mean, he probably just got out of a gig, but he's like very drunk out of his mind. His hair is a mess. His suit is wrinkled from drinking. It was a long night. He was like wearing this like blue and starred suit, and then he's wearing platforms, which have come off because it's starting to ache. His feet are starting to ache. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Valid.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Heels. Yeah.
And what color is his hair, and like what does his facial features look like?
Oh, he looks really young for his age. He sometimes gets mistaken as a teenager for his height and his baby face, but he's like in his mid-20s.
Alright. And for us, what is his name?
Orpheus.
Yes. Your parents named you after a tragedy, with a bit of a sense of humor. Partly because they're hippies who love Greek mythology and unique names, and partly because your mom claims that she knew you'd be a musician from the way that you danced to music in her womb. Now, she was right. Music is in your blood. There's a song always on your lips, a yearning permanently lodged in your chest. But what does a yearning do for you when you can barely make a living? You left your parents behind, crossing an ocean, traveling hours to come to the city of dreams. One of the supposed best places in the world to pursue music. We can argue about that later. Armed with nothing but an address, your guitar, and an embarrassing amount of hope. Your parents couldn't give you much money to go off of. They are not well off. But they did have one saving grace to assist you. A connection to who you affectionately call Nona. She's a mom of a friend, or probably a grandma of a friend, who had a very small apartment available above a hole-in-the-wall pizza place. Apartment is a very generous word for a 250 square foot shoebox. Your bed is very close to the kitchenette. You could literally roll over and cook something on your stove. There is a shared bathroom down the hall, so you don't even have your own bathroom in your apartment. And the only other person on the floor is Nona herself. She lives directly across from you. And she's willing to rent it to you for half price, which is a small mercy of not having to have a roommate in New York City. As long as you watch her cats when she visits family, and you help her with groceries up the 4 flights of stairs, and the occasional chore. She also shoved a cat upon you, telling you that she has to stay in the apartment with you. Do you have a name for what this kitten is, or cat is, or what they look like now?
Oh my god, I have a cat!
I figured.
Kitty! Their name's Kitty.
I love that. Is she, do you have like a breed or an idea of that?
A ragdoll.
Oh, those are so cute.
Yeah, I know.
Nona
I love
has
that.
Nona has like 5 cats, and this was probably one of the litter of her ragdoll, and she was like, I couldn't get rid of this last one. I couldn't get rid of this last one, and she gave it to you. So,
Oh,
honestly, worse deals have been made in this city. It's a very, albeit small, cozy. You have the typical apartment falling apart issues that most people have. Sometimes you're a little nervous about the people who live a floor above you making a lot of noise and maybe coming through the ceiling. But that's living in New York. But, unfortunately, living in this very expensive city, funding auditions, marketing, and management for your dream of becoming a musician is frightfully expensive. And you are a very, very small fish in one of the biggest of oceans. You did manage, because you knew that you couldn't get a job, or you couldn't just live off of music. You had to get a job in order to pay rent and to buy groceries, and to continue to live your dream and pay marketing and management. But you managed to land a very dead-end job at some sort of enormous faceless corporation company. It is very soul-draining, energy-sucking work, and just barely enough to scrape by on. What do you have an idea of, like, what kind of job Orpheus would do, or is it just like whatever pays the bills, administrative work?
front desk.
Honestly, that's kind of fitting for. I feel like he schmoozes everybody who comes through. Is a little. I love that. It is, however, a means to an end, and it is soul draining. But it allows you to give nights and weekends to the music. And it's a little less energy, so that if you show up to work on 3 hours of sleep and definitely maybe still tipsy, you can scrape by, right?
Yeah.
But you're trying to get gigs, you're playing bars, you're desperately writing songs and trying to get your name out there however you can, convinced that one day it'll be enough to make it. It is, however, funding your growing drinking problem, though you've worked out a deal with the nearby dive bar that you play at on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. You do get beer and, well, drinks on the house on the nights that you perform. Small mercies there. Now, let's go back to the moment as you stumble out of this bar. The alleyway that you've gone into, your typical alleyway. It's sticky underfoot, there's scattered cigarette butts, and it smells strongly of nicotine and what probably is old piss. It is not pleasant.
Oh my god.
But it is quieter than the aggressive music and noise of the bar behind you. And right now, that counts for something. You navigate around a couple that is very aggressively making out against the brick wall, which does absolutely nothing for the fact that you are, as you probably call it, saving yourself for your fans. AKA miserably single.
I'm using that.
Saving that for your fans. You're welcome.
Yeah. I need that on the shirt.
You can steal that. Absolutely put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I need.
The alleyway spins. You catch yourself hard against bricks. Very grateful that you had the sense to leave your guitar in the closet tonight, because you kind of overdid it a little bit on the drinking. So what is in Orpheus's head as he's stumbling down this alleyway? What does he feel in this drunken haze?
Oh, he feels kind of depressed because no matter how many jobs he's taking, it's not enough to pay the bills.
And it's not just like, it's enough to pay the bills, but that's it. And you've been noticing that in this industry, money buys. You have to pay for a manager. You have to pay for marketing. You have to pay fees to make agreements with bars and make agreements with little music venues. You have to fight for a spot. And when you're just making enough to barely cover your cost of living, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very depressing. Very understandable that you overdid it at a place where you get free alcohol. You push off the wall and keep moving, deeper and deeper into this alleyway, away from the couple, away from the music. The further you walk, the quieter it gets. You start to notice distant sounds of the city that have gone a little too soft. Like someone slowly turning down a dial that isn't supposed to exist. The 3 a.m. fog sits lower here, beginning to curl around your ankles. The overhead light from a single bulb flickers twice and then dies. The alley begins to stretch longer than it should. This is a normal alley for you, but you feel like you've been walking too far. This little shortcut back to your place is not this long. The fence isn't where you remember it. The dumpster's gone. The fog gets thicker. You chalk it up to the drinks. You chalk probably a lot of things up to the drinks. But then your foot catches on a brick, nothing, and the ground rushes up too fast. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity saving throw with advantage. Or, sorry, with disadvantage. I lied. I said advantage. You're drunk. Disadvantage.
It would be funny, though, if I gained advantage while I was fucking drunk. I mean, I've seen drunk people make a fucking airplane while they're intoxicated. Or doing math problems. And, and then they just wake up like, why the fuck is there a blueprint on the wall?
Yep.
It'd be funny.
It would be funny. Unfortunately, you have disadvantage in this case.
Oh, I'm dumb.
So, dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay. Check.
And then give me one more to check that disadvantage.
15.
Okay. So with a 15, your foot catches. You trip. You manage to balance yourself for just a second. But then you feel something like a shove almost. And you catch yourself still on your hands as the ground rushes up really fast. You feel a sting of pain. It's definitely wet on your knees. You begin to swear under your breath, lifting your head and almost instinctually attempting to look behind you, but you find yourself eye level with your own reflection. A puddle. However, this puddle is perfectly still. You see no light from above, and yet it somehow glows. Illuminated underneath. Something below the surface feels like it's waking up, and you stare down at yourself, hair disheveled, eyes glassy, very drunk, kneeling in a New York alleyway at, stupid o'clock, and you look terrible. It's honestly kind of a low point. But the water's not moving, and that's strange to you. Your breath is unsteady, and your hands are trembling slightly from the fall. And the puddle's still. Your reflection stares back at you with an expression you're not entirely sure you're making. You blink. And it blinks back half a second later. Something flickers at the edge of your vision, almost gone before you can look at it. A shape, like a circle. A light. The impression of something gilded, like the edge of an ornate frame, a mirror, something that has no business being in an alleyway. The puddle's just a puddle, though. And your reflection's your reflection. You exhale. You're drunker than you thought. You lean forward, squinting at yourself a little bit, and almost instinctually reach out to touch it, and the surface gives. Your hand plunges through where the ground should be, and there's nothing solid, nothing to grab, and the alley is gone. And then the rest of you follows whether or not you like it. The last thing that you register is the smell. Rain and copper and something floral. Your eyes blink open. Your head hurts awfully, horribly, and I am so sorry, but I need you to make a Constitution saving throw to try not to throw up here. It can just be regular. It's not a disadvantage.
Hey, good. $15.
Okay. With a 15, it, like, comes up a little bit, and you're like, oh god, oh no, okay, woo! Managed to keep it down, and you have, like, the instinctual, not gonna do that, that's embarrassing. Also, Zari personally hates throwing up with a burning passion. I will do everything to not throw up.
That's me. I hate throwing up.
Yeah, no matter how drunk I got, will not.
Yes.
The light is too bright, and it feels like hours have passed. This is past being drunk. This is feeling hungover. The light is almost warm and golden and very thick. Everything feels very saturated as you begin to take it in. You start to look around you. The sky is almost a wrong color. A blue so deep and perfect it looks like it's painted. The very hard contrast to the smoggy skies of New York City. The clouds...
Oh shit, I'm in the back rooms.
Exactly. The clouds that drift across it are very slow and deliberate. Your hands begin to push you up from the ground, and you realize that there's grass beneath you. Soft and a green that is almost too bright. Each individual blade is perfect in a way that grass never is. You sit up and you notice that you are surrounded in a wide, breathtakingly perfect circle of trees. The trees are so tall that their canopies almost disappear into the golden light of the sun and the blue of the sky. And though they are trees, they are not like trees that you've ever seen. The bark is so pale, with white and silver and grays, and the leaves, as you look around, begin to shift color when you're not looking directly at them. Green, then gold, then almost into a violet that settles back to a green again, almost innocently. Wildflowers push up through the grass at the tree roots in clusters, almost too big, very lush, their petals so vivid, and their colors so saturated. And as you notice them, you watch as all of them almost turn to you, like a sunflower that follows the sun. What are you doing?
I need to figure out where the fuck am I.
Yeah? You're standing
Perception?
up here. Yeah, you can roll a perception check if you want to take a look around, see if you hear anything, any clues.
I think he's thinking if he got roofied or something.
Roofied and dropped off in the middle of the forest.
Yeah, the fuck?
Like hours away.
Funny. Wait, I can't stop laughing.
No, you're good. Go ahead and roll me perception, and then if you're specifically paying attention to the nature stuff, you are also welcome to make a nature check too.
So 11 and a 10.
Okay, let's do the nature check first, and then we'll do perception after.
Okay.
As you're looking around, these trees are nothing like you've ever seen or even heard of or read in a book. And you're like, the places that I could get nearby in order to like be dropped off in the middle of a forest are very like classic forest energy and not whatever the fuck this is, right? And also, I'm gonna just say it, it was like the middle of fall for you, so the trees would not be this green and there would not be flowers like this. With a perception check of 11, somewhere in the distance you hear a peal of laughter. It's very bright and melodic. And it's long and spiraling at the end where the laugh should stop. And then it's unnaturally silent. As though even the bugs and birds and leaves are waiting in anticipation. And with an 11, you hear a rustle in the bushes beyond the perfect circle of trees. You feel as though you are being watched, and you feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up. What do you do?
I don't know. I guess I tried to look for who the fuck is looking at me.
Yeah, you look around. You don't see anything off the riff, and your options are either walk towards the creepy rustle or wait.
Yeah, I'll walk towards.
The creepy rustle?
Yeah.
Okay. As you walk towards the rustle, you think that it was in, you don't know directions here, so a direction. And you continue to walk that way, and you kind of cross through the circle of trees. And let me just look at something quickly. With your kind of passive perception, it feels weird. It feels off. It feels like taking a step over a line, over a doorway, a threshold. And you shake it off a bit and continue to walk. Another rustle happens, this time a little closer. And you watch as the flowers that you're stepping over immediately collapse in on themselves and shrink, almost as if they're reversing their growth back into the ground. You feel like you're being hunted as you turn and see closer to the ground 2 huge eyes, dark, oily, and a mouth that begins to open and grin in between the bushes. And then it springs at you.
Do I roll initiative?
What?
Do I roll initiative?
Yeah, let's roll some initiative, sure.
Oh my god.
To see if it gets you before you can take off.
Is it like a monster or something?
You're not sure yet.
Fine, I'll roll initiative.
Fine, I guess I'll roll initiative. Okay. With a 6 initiative, do you have any bonus to your initiative score? You have a +2, so that's an 8 initiative.
8.
However, it doesn't really make that big of a difference.
Yeah.
You watch as whatever this creature is, you can't quite see it. It almost looks as if the bush has huge eyes and grimacing teeth. And you watch as oil begins to cover the ground under your feet, and then suddenly, as you quickly look back, this thing disappears and you feel something behind you is starting to chase you. Go ahead, and it is now your turn. You can choose whether you stay and fight, or you can choose whether you run.
I'm thinking my decision's over. I mean, I'm not a tank here, so my best option is to run. So if I run,
also,
do it.
I will communicate to you. You don't have an understanding of any magic or anything yet.
Yeah, I have to run.
Yeah, you have no weapons. I'd be kind of curious to know how much damage you would do with an unarmed strike. You have no weapons, you have no magic, you don't understand what's happening, you don't even have your guitar to use as a fake weapon. Not that I think you would.
I have no bitches.
But go ahead, you take off and run, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. 14.
Okay, the oil almost grew up over the grass under your foot. It was gross to watch. It was coming for you, reaching for you like tendrils. And you turn and run, and you feel yourself begin to slip, but you catch yourself on a tree, and you take off. It is now a race. And this thing's definitely taken off after you. You can hear it kind of along the side running pace with you, and then suddenly it's on the other side of you running pace with you. It seems like whatever this thing is, it's either multiple of them or it's going back and forth somehow. It doesn't seem to do anything in this moment. So, are you continuing to run, or is there something that you wish to do?
I have to run. That's my only option. I don't know shit.
Okay, you continue to run. You are dodging around very thick trees, and as you're continuing to run, occasionally you get encountered by what feels like the ground is starting to pull your feet in. Go ahead and make me either an athletics to push through this or an acrobatics check to dodge through this.
I kind of want to make acrobatics. Let's see. 6, so no.
Okay, with the acrobatics of 6, you rolled so poorly. I think your head's still swimming, and that feeling of needing to throw up is coming back, and there's the fear. I'm kind of curious, do you think Orpheus is fight or flight is flight, or do you think it's something else, or do you think it's fight?
He would fight if he had this fucking
If he had the ability.
Yeah, but that's the only option. Plus, he doesn't know what he's facing, so it's better if it's running.
Yeah. The glen that you were near is gone, and you are running through, and you feel the ground come up to get you, and you trip and you fall smack straight on your face. Go ahead and take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And you get up, and you feel as though there's hands grabbing you, and you turn and you look. Go ahead and roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Damn, I've been rolling so many saving throws.
I know. With a 4, you turn and you look, and you see that out of this black sludge that you now noticed again was kind of underneath your foot, that there's little, what can only be described as hands, grabbing onto your pant leg, grabbing onto your shoe, beginning to pull your leg in, and you're terrified. And before you can get restrained, you get up as quickly as possible. I'm gonna say with that wisdom saving throw and acrobatics check, your shoe's gone. I'm so sorry. You got one soft foot, and you are tearing through this forest again as this thing is still chasing you. Go ahead and roll me a perception check as you are running as fast as you possibly can through this forest.
Okay. 11.
Okay, with an 11, it's hard to tell. You are tracking whatever this creature is. It seems small, but you saw those teeth, and obviously it has some sort of weird horror-like abilities. You've never seen this before. This stuff should not be happening. This is not normal. This is the stuff of movies and magic and other realms that you're not even sure exist, right? And you're paying more attention that you don't notice where you are being led. And suddenly, you stumble into a clearing that is full of what can only be described as ginormous Venus flytraps. They're huge. They have horribly huge flowers. They have like all of the little teeth along the side and are brightly colorful. And it's almost like running into this like oversaturated, horrible thing. And immediately as you turn, not seeing a place other than to tear into these Venus flytraps, you turn and the opening that you came through has closed. You watch as the flowers move and they are encircling you. So you are kind of trapped in this circle, and one of them is going to, unfortunately, take a bite at you. Since you rolled pretty low in your perception check, it gets the drop on you.
Oh.
That is a 13 to hit.
Oh, fuck. Wait. I need to see my armor. Give me a sec.
Technically, you wouldn't
Yeah,
have any
fuck,
armor
12.
on.
Yeah. That's okay.
Don't worry. You'll get some stuff eventually, maybe. Okay. So as it bites its teeth into you, it grabs onto your shoulder, and you take 4 points of piercing damage and another 3 points of poison damage as you feel as venom start pumping through your veins.
And I'm unconscious. Cool.
Already?
Yeah, you said 13 plus 3 plus 4.
I didn't say 13, I said 3.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
I got
like
scared.
You've
Yeah.
only taken like maybe 10 damage. It was like
okay.
three bludgeoning damage.
I misheard it.
No,
I misheard it. I'm sorry. I was like, whoa, I am dying already? And it's only been like...
Nah, I'm not gonna kill you, I promise. That would be a very lame podcast. Hello, welcome to our podcast. First 30 minutes, I'm gonna TPK the one player. I wouldn't do that. That's a horrible story. But let's get back to it. You feel the poison go through your veins. You're probably starting to feel what we call bloodied, where you're at half health, and you're getting a little frantic. What do? How do you respond?
I don't know. I can't really escape because I'm circled. I don't have anything to fucking cut the flowers, so...
Panic.
Panic, yeah.
That's how you respond. You can take the dodge action and kind of like try to protect yourself, get your arms in front of you, which means that they have disadvantage on their next attack.
Yeah, I'll dodge.
Okay, and then go ahead and also, I assume that he's looking for a way out, so if you want to use your bonus action or whatever to do a perception check, you can.
Okay, let me roll.
With a 19. So here's the deal. I lied to you. That was not a perception check. That was actually an arcana check. So I just swapped out your 3 for a +1, which is now not a 19, but a 17. And you are standing there panicking almost, and you begin to feel something rise up through your hands, and you begin to hear drums and a little bit of a sonic, like, static in the back of your head, and a burst of energy comes from you as, for mechanical purposes, you cast Thunderwave. The creatures, the flowers do not seem to pass. Some of them do, but go ahead and roll me 2d8 of damage, because that's fun.
Oh, I love Thunderwave.
Me
it's
too.
like the equivalent of Fireball.
I I think that he's
It's
not
okay.
used to this, right? This is new. This is terrifying. Go ahead and mark that first level spell slot off. Sorry, I made you use it, but this is you discovering magic here.
No, it's okay.
As a burst of thunderous energy emanates from you, from your hands, in panic as you shove them out, and the whole area echoes. You hear a yelp off into the distance as something like more rustling, and these things like withdraw from you a little bit. However, it is their turn, and some of them are still holding together. You do see like two of them have two of those very smaller ones have kind of like disintegrated from this and are shriveling in on themselves. But one of them bites you again. That is, I rolled a natural 19.
Oh.
Okay, and for this one, you take 2 points of piercing damage. And 1 point of poison damage. I rolled really, really low.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not sure if you can recreate it, but you can certainly try. You can try to fight, but you do also hear, as it is not quite your turn yet, you hear noise off in the distance. And you hear a yell. You hear someone say in the distance, "Hello? Is someone there?"
Hello?
And with that, you watch as bursting in almost kind of through the area that you made, as you look so disheveled, thunder almost crackling and like a little bit of lightning crackling around your hands as you're trying to comprehend this. You watch as a very regal looking woman in armor runs through, like full plate armor. There's a sun emboldened on her chest plate, and she's holding what seems to be some sort of sword and shield, and she runs through, and you watch as she cuts through one of the Venus, huge like human-sized Venus flytraps, and almost instinctually shoves you behind her. Her hair's in a very dark brown straight ponytail that's kind of unnaturally long. Like, you know, if she was a real warrior in like actual times, maybe she wouldn't have this long of a ponytail, but it looks perfect and not a single hair is out of place. But what you do notice is she shoves you behind her, her unnaturally high cheekbones, and the long ears of what you've only seen in movies before, and what you recognize to be some sort of elf. She has unnaturally bright green eyes and a little tiny smattering of freckles, and she shoves you behind her and says, "All right, I need you to back out slowly behind me where I cleared a space, and let's get away from the dangerous plants."
Yes, please.
And she begins to slowly walk you back and kind of into the forest, and you watch as they don't move, they can't move, and begin to walk back. And after a moment, she gets you far away and sits you down, and like sits you down in kind of like a mossy rock, and you're looking up at her, and she goes, and she puts her hands on her hips in almost like a sassy way and goes, "And why is the human stumbling through the forest of the Feywild?"
The what?
The Feywild? Oh no, crossing over must have messed with your... Sometimes it scrambles time, and sometimes it scrambles memories. That is interesting. Human, and she starts speaking to you like you're kind of dumb. Human prince, here for competition. And she like nods at you.
Orpheus just looking at her like she's crazy or something, and it's like, listen, lady, I I was intoxicated for like, well, I don't know what time it is though. I guess yesterday night, and then I stumbled here. Is this a dream?
Oh my goodness, it must have really scrambled your brain. I think that I'll need to take you to Sylvain. She'll know how to fix this. No. I mean, you may have been intoxicated. I don't know what you humans do with your free time. You see, like, a disgust almost across her face. And you're not sure if it's by the fact that you're human or by the fact that you're just, like, the lack of control and intoxication that she's judging, but she's
Can I
judging
roll an
something.
insight?
Absolutely you can.
Yeah, I want to see which one she's pissed at. It would be funny if it was both. Like that one.
Yep. A nat one. You have no clue. And I think like the bright light and the adrenaline wears off and you feel like shit. You feel like absolute shit. And you break into a cold sweat and she goes, "Oh my goodness, please don't faint." And she kind of leans down and hands out, like, you didn't even notice she had a small pack, and she hands you like a small canteen of water, like what you would see at a Ren fair or something, and hands it to you. And then she calls out and she just goes, "Wait here for a moment." And she calls out in a language you do not understand. And seems to be barking orders in this language. And you hear off in the distance some more crashing and walking. And then it becomes almost silent, and it's just the slight clinking of armor as gracefully another two knights, you can only assume to be knights, in the same matching plate armor, although they don't have, she seems to have three kind of V stripes on her arm, and these ones only have two. They're both also, one of them is an elf, with very long ears and amber-colored eyes. He has kind of mousy, like, brown hair that's cut very short and is also carrying a sword and shield. And the other one is interesting in that they are in full plate, and then they have the plate attached to their legs, but their legs are furry from where they peek out, and there's hooves, and they have horns and sticking out of their head, and very curly short hair, kind of effeminate features as they also walk through. And they like stop, salute this woman, and then kind of look at you and then step off to the side as she barks another order, and it looks like they start to patrol around the little glen. She sighs, and then she bends down, the armor clanking. "Let's start from the beginning, as I think you are suffering from portal forgetfulness, we'll call it. My name is Aralia. I am the captain of the guard of the summer court. And you are?"
Orpheus.
"Do you remember how you got here, Orpheus?"
No, I passed out and then I woke up here.
"Well, we were expecting a prince from the human realm of, well, it's not just a human realm, I'm sorry. The prince from the material plane, from Illumilan. A human prince was coming to participate in a competition for the Summer Court Prince's hand. Sometimes when you, and she's like explaining this to you, and she's explaining it like with the most annoyance on her face, and like you are a small child that she doesn't understand how to interact with. Sometimes when you pass through portals, they scramble your brain if you are not of the Feywild. Are you okay if I take you to the summer court to get you healed.
Yes, please.
Okay. This is the only portal that is activated today, and this is the only portal that we had scheduled to activate today. So, I think that you, little princeling, are supposed to be here. And she, like, pats your head kind of demeaningly, and then helps you to your feet. And she's a little handsy. Like, she's kind of, like, pulling you up with a lot of strength.
Orpheus is a stray cat.
Just like a stray cat.
Yeah.
I feel like she almost picks you up a little too much, and your, like, feet are dangling for a second before she sets you back down. All right. Are you okay to walk a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she begins to walk, and you hear her whistle, and you just faintly in the back hear these other two soldiers kind of fall in behind you. And she's a very stern face, and she pulls her helmet kind of back on. And you didn't see her wearing a helmet at first, but then she puts like a face covering back over. You can still kind of see her face through it, but it seems to protect her face. And she sheaths her sword and puts her shield on her back and walks alongside you in silence. Are you saying anything, or are you just letting her lead you?
I'm just letting her leave.
Okay. You walk, and it's hard to tell the time. You're not sure if it's been, like, 5 minutes, if it's been hours. I'm just noticing in my notes that my cat put a whole bunch of ones. That's hilarious. Okay. So you get when a cat steps on your keyboard.
Yeah.
She begins to walk you through this forest, and as you are walking in silence, you hear the noises around you, and you realize like how quiet the forest was when you were being hunted. There's life. There's birds, there's rustling, and you see like a couple of squirrels chase each other, but they're squirrels, but they have like huge, unnaturally big teeth. It's kind of unnerving. You see flowers that are 2 times the size that they should be, and it's beautiful and a little bit warm. And after a bit, you go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Okay. Seven.
Okay. You're tired, you're thirsty, you're starting to slow a little, and at one time you trip and she just grabs you by the scruff of your the back of your kind of mangy suit and sets you back on your feet, and you just hear like a huff and what sounds a little bit, oh, I didn't put on repeat and our music's shifting, it's fine, everything's fine. And like you hear what sounds a little bit like a curse under her breath, but in a language you do not recognize. And after a while, your feet are starting to hurt a little bit more, and you're starting to get so tired. And it feels like you did not sleep at all. And
Ah.
although you feel horribly hungover, it feels like those days that you get like only 1-ish hour of sleep. And it's awful. It's absolutely horrible. But the dense forest that you've been walking through, and you're not even sure how she's leading you because there's not a path at all, but she's so confident. But the dense forest begins to open up, and the first thing that you see is a huge tree, if it could be called that. It is as wide as a small city, and it grows up hundreds, thousands, maybe even like a mile up into the sky. It's wide branches starting low and going all the way up until the top. It is ginormous. And as you get closer, you begin to see buildings kind of popping up, almost nestled in the roots that kind of rise up. Stone. They look like they're both grown out of the tree and casually placed in the tree, with vines growing up them, ivy, and blooms and colors that seem to like shift in color from like a pink to a darker red. And she leans over and just says, "The Ardenmere is the home of the Summer Court, the giant ancient oak tree there. And the Solenthier Palace, the Summer Court Palace, is nestled in it. That is where we are going." She leads you for a little bit longer, and you start to see both people pop up and small buildings, what looks to be like outposts and farms. There's like one moment where you kind of pass through a giant root that has grown over what is now a path, and you see a couple soldiers in the similar attire that your brand new super best friend Arlia is in, and they seem to be patrolling around the top of this route that kind of makes like this entryway into the city. And she starts leading you through it, and it's almost quiet. And then before you see carved into the center of the trunk of this ginormous tree a space, like an opening, an archway. And in it, as you enter into this trunk of the tree, you see stone on the floor, a vaulted space. The inner walls of this wood kind of glow faintly, and it begins to pulse like a heartbeat. Roots push up through the mossy stone into arching curves, and there's lanterns and cushions in these hollows. It is a huge room, and a grand staircase splits and spirals up both wooden walls. There's gold railings in these curved patterns that look like vines and leaves. And in the center of these two staircases that curve along the walls, you see a golden sun. And it's almost pulsing with a bright orange coloration. And you kind of hear Arlia like sniff a little bit. Some of the most emotion you've seen from her, other than annoyed. And she looks a little nervous for a second, and then she steels her face. And she just says, "We have about 2 hours before the grand ceremony, so we need to make sure that you are all fixed up. I'm so glad that it was me who went. And so we're going to go a little bit further down into the Ardenmere, into the tree." And she like nods at you again, like she's talking to a 3-year-old. And take you to the healing area. And she like nods again, like looking to make sure you're following. And she kind of leads you underneath this like sweeping staircases, and you see that there's a little bit of an opening that you couldn't quite see from the start. It looked like it was just a wall, but it's a little bit of an opening, and you actually see staircases that spiral down darker, deeper into the tree. And kind of ushers you down these stairs, and it begins to be humid as you go down beneath, and into what opens up to be a ginormous room made of stone nestled underneath this tree. And she leads you kind of through a doorway into a room that just feels like a sauna and a spa. It smells of water. There's a wisteria tree off that is far, like, kind of against the wall, a ginormous one, and dangling flowers from the ceiling, wisteria flowers. And there's what looks to be a beautiful hot spring in the center, and what can only be standing off to the side is what you maybe recognized to be a satyr. So a really pretty woman. She has hooved feet, and it is kind of like furry, but her skin is almost green and green tinged. And she has very long hair, and wisteria's braided into the crown, and then it falls in waves of curls. And she squeals a little bit, and she goes, "Oh dear, is this the human?" And she rushes up to Aurelia, and you, go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Okay. We get picked up the toddler.
No, not quite.
Insight, right?
Yep.
9.
With a 9, this satyr dryad, you're not quite sure. She kind of looks like a satyr, but she also looks like she's of this tree. She's saying dear to Aurelia, and so either they're really close friends or there's maybe some relationship there. And then she starts to examine you, and she's circling around you, and she then sticks her hand out, and she goes, "Hi," and puts her hand out. "I heard humans shake."
What?
Shake hands?
I thought, okay. I shook her hand.
My name is Sylvain. I recommend you say "you may call me," because, like, well, I won't steal your name. Some people here may steal your name. That's kind of an old tradition of the unseelie, but still, it's safekeeping.
Okay, thank you.
And what may I call you?
You can call me Orpheus.
Okay, you look like shit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's, what happened to him? And she, like, turns to Arlia, and Arlia just goes, does not remember why he's here, portal issues, looks to be hungover, and there's disgust on her face. Get him cleaned up, we have roughly 2 hours, please. And Sylvain, like, leans over and like bumps elbows with Arlia, and you watches her Arlia's like mouth quirks up in a like half smile, which is the most of a smile that you've ever gotten from her. And she just nods and turns to you. "I will leave you in Sylvain's capable hands." Once again, trying, like, talking to a child. "She will take care of you. You will feel better." And then she starts to walk off. And
thank you.
Sylvain turns back to you and claps her hands together. And you watch as her cheeks kind of get pink, almost like a little bit of a, you're not sure if it's a blush or if it's like, that's just how her face turns when she expresses emotion, and it almost matches the wisteria braided into her hair. And she just says, "Okay, I'm one of the court druid and healer here. It is so nice to meet you. You seem very sweet, and it's so brave of you to travel so far to a place that you don't know by yourself. I don't know why they didn't say you could bring people with you, but that's, or maybe you declined. We don't know, right?" She said, you were having memory issues?
I guess.
Okay. Well, you also look hungover. So, we're going to get you in the baths, and get you taken care of. And she begins to like slowly shove you towards a door in the wall that you like barely saw. It's kind of looks like a dark wood almost in the wood of this room. And she kind of like opens it and closes it and shoves you in there, but you can still hear her voice through it, and you see around you what looks to be a changing room. And she says, "There's some bathing clothes in there. Go ahead and change. The water will help you. It will heal you. And I'm going to go get you some water, okay?"
Okay.
You take a moment to change, and I think Orpheus is just having a second to himself. There was the portal, there was falling through, there was the chase, there was the weird, what you can only describe as magic, and then all of these creatures like something out of a fairy tale. What is he feeling in this moment?
He still thinks he's on drugs. You know when you're having a long shower and you just stare at the wall? That's what he's feeling right now. He's just
I think there's just like a smash cut of him kind of staring at the wall, and then suddenly he's in the pool, like smash cut to that, holding what looks to be kind of like a glass with like a little flower in it that looks like one of those umbrellas, but it's definitely a flower like sticking out of it. And Sylvain is pressing a cloth to your head, and she just says quietly, "Rest here. Let the wisteria wash over you. You will stay here for about 10 minutes and you should begin to feel better." And she, like, you hear a little clop as she walks away for a second. And indeed, you do start to feel better, like, alarmingly fast. The water's warm. It probably feels very nice. You probably are, like, sweaty and disgusting from running through, and the day you probably went immediately from your job to the bar to play, right? Probably have not eaten enough. And she kind of comes back to you a little bit after a while, and she begins to pull you out of the water. And there's like chairs nearby, and she kind of sits you down in one of the chairs. And you feel just like what feels to be like a little bit of energy as a blue light emanates from her hands, and it looks like she's examining you. And she kind of just says, "Do you feel any better from the waters?"
yeah.
Yeah, and indeed, you're not hungover anymore or anything. Like, all of those symptoms are gone. You're kind of feeling, honestly, you're probably feeling the best that you felt in months. Do you mind if I examine your head a little bit to see if you have any memory issues?
Mm.
Okay. She moves her hand up, and you feel like the blue and the little bit of the buzz behind your head, and then you hear like a noise of her making like a confusion. She's like, "Hmm? Oh." And she kind of crouches down next to you. It's not reading like you have memory issues.
What does that mean?
That means that it's either really, really complex magic, or um you should remember everything.
Hmm. Is it possible for me to like go home or
Mm, you don't want to participate in the competition anymore?
I'm not a prince.
But you are. You're the only human who's crossed over.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm going to be really honest with you because you don't understand court customs and everything. Uh, when an agreement is made with the Fae, if it is not carried out, there's punishment. And it's not malicious punishment from the Fae, it's a magical backlash because every agreement's a magical agreement. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, I understand that you may want to go home and may be confused, but since you made the agreement and the promise to come participate in the competition, if you don't, you're breaking that agreement, and I'm going to be complete based upon your being and everything. You probably wouldn't survive that large of a magical backlash. And she looks like really nervous.
What's the magical backlash then?
It depends. It depends. It varies. I've seen people turn into flowers. I've seen people sucked through the ground, never to be seen again. Like, the Feywild just literally eats their essence, I suppose. Uh, and I've seen people who have just gotten the magic and the age sucked out of them, and so they just age really rapidly. Which isn't that big of a deal if you are a fae with longevity, but if you're a being that is, who doesn't have a very long life, and she, like, looks very sympathetically at you, that's kind of detrimental. Uh, I've seen ones that people have survived too. It's just been like a little sting in the brain, or they lose some of their magical essence and can't cast quite as high of spells. So, um, healer to patient, I would recommend that you continue with your commitment in the competition, and I will do some research. Chances are it may have just been a curse and I'm not detecting it. And my first examination of why you don't have memory of your life before, and I'll do some research and see if we can come up with a solution to give you your princely memories back. And she kind of smiles, like, encouragingly.
Um, I don't have to win, right?
Oh, no, 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 no. I mean,
Okay, thank
there's
God.
there's multiple competitors and multiple. It's like, we're talking, this competition's probably going to be months and months. I mean, selecting the consort of the prince is no small matter. I'm sure you understand.
Okay.
You just have to do your best. And the you look not like a fighter or combatant. And she kind of smiles at you sympathetically and pats your hand. So use your skills of entertainment and your wilies and charm the people, or use your intelligence and your knowledge of history, but you're also kind of exotic, and that gives you a little bit of a leg up.
Uh,
Though I will warn you, some of the Eladrin might look at you like you're a pet, but don't worry. I don't see you that way. Neither does Arlia. I know that she's a little prickly, but and she like smiles and it's very wistful, and like you see like a little bit of the hearts in her eyes. Little
the pride one?
what? Did you say in Pride
Are
Month?
you happy Pride? Happy Pride?
Pride Month?
Are you gay?
What? Cute lesbian, like the healer and the captain of the
Yeah.
Royal Guard?
Yeah.
What? I love it. Um, mm. So, just do your best, okay?
Okay.
And we have your back. I'm sorry that you don't have any friends here, so I'm willing to be a friend, and I'm sure you'll find others.
Thank you.
And she kind of like pats your head. I'm sure that it's been a really long day, and you have maybe an hour before the grand announcement and opening ceremony. So, how about I walk you to your room a little early, and you can have some time to freshen up. They supply everyone with wardrobes and whatever cosmetics you may need, and you can have some time, okay?
Okay.
And she will walk you back up the stairs into this grand chamber, and she begins to walk you up the stairs. And you continue to go up and up and up, almost spiraling up the center of this huge trunk of this ginormous tree. Or at least a section of it. I mean, from what it looked like way too big to just be a gigantic spiral staircase, right? But it does curve slightly. And after a while, and she'll like chat your ear off a little bit, and then notice that you're a little bit quieter and maybe a little bit more nervous, and she will fall into a silence. But it was like, oh, and you see right there, and she'll point like at the crest. That is the crest of the summer court, and it kind of answers to Queen Titania's whims. So that pulsation in orange means that she's both excited and a little fiercely determined, we'll call it. And she continues, and then like notices the quiet and calms down a little with you. And after a while, she pulls you off into what seems to be a kind of offshoot hallway, and it's made out of this wood, and it's carved, and the ceilings are a little bit closer than what you've seen, so not as high ceilings, and it looks like beautifully carved wood in very floral motifs, and there's these naturally non-perfect windows that seem to be made out of these knots in the wood that they just retrofitted glass that has all of this. Some of them are stained glass in like reds and oranges and golds, and you see a lot of sun motifs. You also see a lot of rose motifs in the stained glass, and as you kind of look out, you see that you're in some of the top branches of this huge tree. There's lanterns of amber light, and she leads you down the hallway, and there's doors all down this hallway. She leads you down the hallway to one and kind of opens it, and you see a soaring ceiling, a very large stone fireplace across that looks huge and like you could crawl into it, huge. And a huge circular bed with a canopy that hangs down from the top over it, and it's very like beautiful and wispy and romantic. There's fresh flowers on what looks to be a small circular table, as well as a little charcuterie board with cheese and breads and fresh fruit, and what looks to be another door that probably leads to some sort of bathing chamber, and a huge wardrobe, as well as a small vanity that has some cosmetics on it. And she just says, I will warn you, you as a human can eat the food as long as you don't ask for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just don't ask for the food. And don't say thank you for the food either. Which I know is apparently... and she looks like so proud of herself. I did a stint in the material plane at the temples of Katsue. the growing goddess of herbs, and, well, I don't worship her or anything. I mean, why would I worship her when literally my forces come from the Feywild and nature, whatever. But I learned a little bit about human customs, and they called me rude for a little bit because I didn't thank them for the food, but it's the customs here, and it'll keep you safe.
Okay.
You can be grateful for other things. And she smiles. Be safe. Hopefully most people see your social blunders here in the court as charming. And she, like, pats your hand, and she closes the door. So as we pan over, Orpheus, you are left alone. You kind of hear what feels like a little bit of faint music, some laughter that comes through the walls, in this very beautiful room that's very much yours, in a very strange place. You are clean. You just got to soak in, like, the hot springs. You could go take a cool shower if you want. As you poke around, you do open the door, and indeed it is, like, a very kind of small-ish, but, like, has, like, a nice walk-in shower. It does have, like, a large soaking tub and bathroom, and then there's a vanity. You open the wardrobe, and there seems to be tons of clothes. What would you like to do? What do we see as you are exploring and kind of getting yourself ready and acquainting yourself with the situation?
With the drawing I sent you, I'm gonna try my best to, like, describe it. Oh, I should have colored it, but whatever. Since it's like the summer court, I guess he has to fit in. Well, good for him. He has tan skin, so it would complement with the golds and the whites. So he kind of wears, like, this princely outfit of white and gold.
I love that. What are this, like, is it poofy sleeves, or is it more of like a suit? Like, what do you think that he's drawn to?
Yeah, I guess it looks more like a suit.
Like a suit, but make it fantasy?
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like you end up picking out a vest that has, like, a kind of a raised velvet and a gold embroidery of, like, kind of like a floral. Orpheus gives me flamboyant energy, so I feel like he would be excited about something that has that level of artistry. Taking some time to get yourself ready. Are you eating any of the lovely charcuterie?
Yeah, I am.
Snacks?
Yes, snacks.
If you test out the bed at all, it is plush. It is so soft. And it almost feels like it's soaking you in a little bit, and you kind of, like, look up at this beautiful canopy of gossamer over you. It's very cozy. Is there anything else that you wish to do before somebody comes and gets you?
I wait for the inevitable.
Okay. After a bit, you're starting to kind of get... Time feels a little wibbly-wobbly still, but you're starting to kind of get the sense, and it feels like an hour-ish. You hear a very firm knock at the door.
Come in.
The door opens, and you see, once again, the Eladrin captain of the guard, Aralia, in full armor regalia. Her armor looks like she got cleaned up. She wasn't, like, dirty or messy at all, but she definitely looks like she freshened up a little bit. And you see that her sword has been swapped for something, like, ostentatiously ceremonial. Very, very bright on her hip. However, the other sword hilt that you saw is now with her shield on the back, so she has two swords on her. And she just kind of looks at you, looks at what you're wearing. She gives you a face. You're not sure if she's judging you or if she's like, that'll do, unless you want to check.
I want to roll.
Yeah. She's so
Maybe she just has a
judgmental.
resting bitch.
She does.
Maybe she just has a resting bitch face. We don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Insight, right?
Yep, insight.
8. Still no.
Yeah. With an 8, she might just have a resting bitch face. She also might just be judging you.
Ah.
But she just kind of mutters something under her breath to herself, and then she nods at you and says, I will escort you to the... I will escort you. Follow me.
Okay.
We are heading to the solarium as you're like walking through the area. I will let you know. You do have free reign of the castle. You can go wherever you would like. And she kind of points back to your door, and as she does, back to the door you just exited from, you see a symbol begin to kind of burn onto it for a second. It looks like a golden burn, and it kind of looks similar to a guitar, kind of surrounded by what looks to be like an ornate framing, circular framing, with like the kind of guitar symbol in the center. And she says, the Artemir has marked your door so that you can get back to it. I do not see the marking, but it is a marking that is yours, so make sure to memorize it. And when you return to the Amber Halls to retire to your rooms, that is how you tell your door apart. But you are welcome to go all around the Solenthier Palace. You are welcome to leave the palace, but I personally would not recommend going outside of the court. You are a small, puny human, sorry, and you're going to get charmed or squished or chased by creatures or eaten by things. So I would recommend staying. There's much dangerous creatures. However, I will warn you that the Ardenmere, the tree, is alive, and we live in harmony with it, so be respectful of the tree. And be careful where you wander. Both the people and the environment are more than what they seem and can be dangerous. Which I'm sure you were briefed on before coming here. But if you have any questions, and then she kind of go ahead and roll me another insight check as she gives this line, because I think it's funny. But she kind of just says, okay, if you have any questions, you may ask me, because I am the captain of the guard, and it is my duty to protect you.
I want to see if she's bullshitting me or something.
Yep.
11. Oh.
With an 11, you're starting to understand how she works. You're starting to see how she speaks. And it is both, she's being honest. She's being absolutely truthful with you. It is her duty to protect you. You get the sense that she is genuine. She's a little... She seems to be, with an 11, she seems to be speaking to you as if you are a child. And from what you know about what you think this situation is, maybe, I don't know how much Orpheus would have read fantasy or watched Lord of the Rings or anything. But elves have a lot of longevity, and she's probably pretty old. So you might legitimately be a child to her. And it's like the, I'm going to protect this puppy running around and that runs into the street, right? Like, I want to protect this stupid dog that's, right? Like, that's kind of the energy you're getting. Okay. So, with that, you continue to walk back down the spiraling staircase, but before you get back to the entrance hall, she stops at this huge gilded double door, like 15 feet tall in the wall, and begins to push it with like one arm, and the door heaves, and you see that you are now outside on this kind of walkway bridge that begins to spiral out, and the sun is now, it's always high in the sky, but you're starting to see a trickle of pinks on the horizon. The sun has not moved. It's still high in the sky though, but there's pinks on the horizon, and it's a little bit dimmer and a little bit more romantic outside. This bridge is surrounded by railing that's in very similar golden carved curvature of vines. And you see a platform up above you that kind of looks like it has walls of living tree branches and a spiral staircase that she leads you up and around to kind of swing out over the middle of the air up on top, coming around to this platform on the opposite side. So you're kind of like walking a full 180 degrees to look back at the tree, and you walk through another archway into a room. It's kind of open, but the ground is a white and golden, with like golden marbling in it, beautiful marble, and the walls are made of living wood. And they're not necessarily walls as more spaced out columns, now that you can kind of see it, with vines growing in between them, covered in roses, climbing roses of golden colors, of deep orange colors, of a burning red, and like a sunset pink. And if you watch like a little too long, they start to shift in hues. It feels like a perfect summer afternoon, a little balmy in here, and it is filled with denizens of the Feywild. There's people everywhere. It's a little too colorful to look at, but also at the same time is like so saturated and yet so beautiful. And there's people everywhere. You see half people, half horses. You see so many Eladrin. Some of them look pretty similar to your good old Captain of the Guard, Ariella here, with golden color, like kind of slightly tan golden skin, various colors of eyes. You do see some people that look a little bit more autumn hued, and you do see some people that are like full green hair Eladrin, who look to be a little bit more spring colored. You see so many satyrs. There's like little fairies flitting around here and there, and creatures that you don't recognize or haven't heard stories of. Gnomes? Maybe gnomes? Some of them look like half satyrs, half gnomes with tons of curly hair. You see one person who definitely reminds you of like a hag of a horrible story, but like less creepy. And at the far end, back up against the Ardenmere tree, almost growing out of the tree, is this huge throne, over 20 feet tall, with roses growing up the side. Like a natural hollow in there, and it's dark. They're all red, super dark roses, and it is draped in living moss. And as you walk in, the people are kind of looking at you, and you're kind of looking around a little bit, but very quickly you're led towards the front, and there seems to be kind of like a line of people. You see about 8 other people, and then Ariella shoves you into the line with the other people. The music begins to quiet down. The court and the denizens around you begin to fall quiet. As out of somewhere, onto this platform next to this throne walks what you can only imagine a Fey Queen. She is very tall, like unnaturally too tall. Like a good 9, maybe 10 feet tall. She has long, pin-straight hair and a huge diadem, golden, that sticks out and swirls and almost looks like a ring of sun above her. And she has the longest ears that you've ever seen and very sharp cheekbones, and she turns to you all. She has a kind of golden dress on that starts at a very, very dark gold around her chest and the bodice in like a corset style. It also kind of looks like armor at the same time, and then it falls into skirts of a lighter gold that trails out in a huge long train. And she turns and looks at all of you, and you feel her eyes on you for just a brief second, and you're terrified. Like, this is a creature of power. And she looks out over the court as they all fall silent immediately. My court. My beloved, beautiful, radiant court. Look at you. And she takes a moment. Her eyes are moving slowly across the assembled faces, unhurried. And they stay silent and they're attentive. If you want to try to get like the energy of like what the court feels about her, you are more than welcome to roll. You can pick whatever role you would like to, and something's going to give you something different.
I'll roll perception and insight.
Okay. You can roll one of those, yeah.
I'll do perception first. Yippee. Oh, 22.
Okay. With a 22, these denizens of the court, and likely, if they're all gathered here for some sort of competition, likely of other courts too, they are attentive. They are silent. And you feel a power behind you. What you're starting to get the sense of is some sort of magic powers. You feel a power behind you. These denizens are not helpless. They are powerful too, but they are nothing compared to the power that is radiating in front of you. And it's hard to tell if it's a love or a respect, but there's a quiet attentiveness that you've only heard from crowds like this when they cannot wait to see what is coming from the person who is performing. That level of anticipation. Beautiful roll. You got a lot out of there.
Yeah.
She moves so slowly, but she's driving this thing, right? Like, she begins to speak again after a long pause, but a pause that seemed very respected. It has been a season of difficulty. I will not insult you by pretending otherwise. You've all felt the cold at the edges of our borders, the decay. You've seen the color leaving the leaves where it should not leave. You've heard the reports of the outposts, the silence where there should be sound, the dark where there should be light, the rot where there should only be the good, clean turning of seasons as they were meant to turn, or the eternal seasons where they are meant to stay. But it is out of balance right now. The winter court has forgotten its place. Now, winter is always meant to come. We have never begrudged it that. The cold is necessary. Winter is necessary just as autumn is, as spring is, as summer is. The dark is necessary just as the light. The quiet of a sleeping earth is necessary, and we have honored it. What is happening at our borders is not winter. What is spreading through the outer reaches of our territories is not the cold of a healthy season doing its proper works. It is something else, and we are addressing that. But, if you want to roll me some sort of, like, a wisdom check to... She's intimidating to see, like, how much you're shaking in your boots. That was beautiful. That was a 3 for, everybody. She's scary. She's scary as fuck. She's terrifying. And war? There's talk of war? What does that mean? Like, you're starting to get a little nervous here. But she shifts a bit. You did not come here tonight to hear about war. You see, like, not quite a smile, but a bit of a smile. You came here because the summer court does not surrender its joy to shadow. We do not dim our lights because something in the dark dislikes them. We do not quiet our music. We do not cancel our celebrations because the winter court has forgotten how to celebrate. If anything, and she smiles fully, and it's a little scary, especially if we're rolling over that 3. There's a viciousness and an almost animalistic nature to her smile. We celebrate louder. My son, Sorvin, the prince of the summer court, heir to the Ardenmere and the Solanther palace, grown in it, is to be married. And we are doing it loudly and joyfully with the full and absolute attention of this court, because joy is not a luxury in dark times. It is a declaration. It is a choice made deliberately in the face of everything that would rather we didn't. We have received the suitors, the competitors. We have opened our gates and our court and our homes to those who would compete for my son's hands, and they have come. From across the courts, from across the Feywild, and from places further than that. And for the briefest moment, her eyes that were slowly panning across the group, begin to lock on you. And you feel her full attention for just a second, and it's a little too much. You almost feel like a little bit of a presence in your head, but then it moves as her eyes are off you. We welcome them, every one of them. And what they face in this competition will be worthy of what they are competing for. I promise that, and I do not make promises lightly. The court will watch and judge, and at the end of it, my son will select a consort worthy of standing beside him, and we will have given the darkness something to look at and despair. Now, and she sits, throwing her train out in a very elegant way as she sits on the throne. Let us begin. And out from the side walks what I would think Orpheus believes is the most beautiful elf man, that you have ever seen. He is dressed in golden and amber, and very princely attire. He has beautiful golden hair, like the blonde, but with a little bit of depths, sparkling in the sunlight, like the sun itself is shining from him. You're kind of closer to the stage, and he has amber eyes. And while he does have sharp cheekbones, his face is just a little bit rounder and less, like, aggressively sharp than his mother's. The kind face that, like, makes people feel comfortable. He's so graceful as he moves. Every gesture seems to be, like, intended. And you can tell that he feels like the most important person in the room. And yet, as he looks out, there is a little bit of a humbleness and an acknowledgement of the people who are here. And you see a sense of almost warm responsibility. And he is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So, like, I'm gonna be honest, Fae can be so unnaturally beautiful that they far outshine anything that you've probably seen of the human realm, and, like, even of the celebrities that can afford all of the, you know, the fixes and stuff. So.
You know what would be funny? Orpheus just screams, and then it's like, oh, sorry.
Sure! Orpheus lets out a scream, and it just kind of awkwardly stops for a moment. I feel like, is he, like, flustered? Is he, like, fanning himself? What is he feeling?
No, it sounds like a blood-curdling scream that you can hear in horror. Like, ah! Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna put myself a timeout.
Orpheus scared of pretty people? Valid?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm also scared of pretty people. There's, like, a moment, the screech, you say that, you lower your head demurely, you look like you're about to step out, and you feel a hand on your back, a very gloved, hand, and kind of look back and see Ariella looking so done with you. She keeps you standing in the line. She just shushes you and points, and Prince Sorvin just smiles, and he nods at you, and there's a grace in his smile. And then he turns to the rest of the court. I'll be briefer than my mother. And you hear warm laughter that just bubbles up and breaks the ice. She has said the important things, and has said them better than I ever would. So I'll say only this. I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, with great affection, I'm sure, that this is a distraction. That we're doing something lavish and romantic and expensive, while something serious unfolds at our borders. You are thinking that the timing is perhaps not ideal. That there's more pressing matters. You are not wrong. But you are not entirely wrong. But what we do here matters. And that is not in spite of what is happening beyond our walls. It's because of it. The Winter Court is very old and powerful, and has, if our intelligence is accurate, forgotten what it is fighting for. While it fights the war, it has lost the reason. We have not lost the reason. And he looks across the room, and you kind of, like, look around a little bit, and everyone's agreeing with him. Everyone's smiling. They're understanding. And he seems to be, like, soothing their souls a little bit. I intend to be married. And I intend to do it in the way that makes it the most talked about event in this court's recent history. I need someone remarkable. Someone who can stand next to me in the Ardenmere and hold their ground. Who can navigate or learn to navigate what we are, what we stand for. Who can look at all of you, and he gestures out, and not flinch. Someone who surprises me. And we will bring joy. And the joy will spurn the war. Now I suspect that some of you may surprise me. And he smiles, and you actually, like, see him make eye contact with each person down this line that you're in, and finally it is your turn, and he locks eyes with you, and he smiles. And, you maybe feel your heart melt just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Orpheus is making a face right now, he's like...
The competition begins tonight, and I look forward to getting to know each of you. I am told that the all of the different competition phases are spirited, and I look forward to seeing your spirit. Welcome to Solenthier. Now, try not to touch anything that looks back at you. And the court's beginning to laugh and applaud. And he goes and he sits down. And there's not a chair there, but suddenly there's a chair under him. Almost grown out of the branch next to his mother. And the applause is still going. And there's whoops. And there's someone yelling, "I love you!" from the back. And you hear like fangirls screeching. And fanboys, everybody's screeching. Is there any checks or anything that you wanna clock, or any energy that you wanna see and feel?
Sure, I'll do a perception check again.
Okay.
Orpheus just wants to go home.
Are you trying to clock Sorenvin, or are you trying to clock the court right now and the court's opinion of him?
The prince, I can't pronounce his name.
What'd you get? I'm sorry.
I can't pronounce his name.
Oh,
Sorenvin?
Sorenvin.
Sorry.
After our session,
Yeah.
I'll give you all of the names. I'll give you like a little character.
Thank you.
rundown. Yeah, of course. That's what we have. We have a little character, characters and lore area. Okay.
Oh, 22 again.
Dang, with another
Nice.
22. He's charming. He's so pretty, and he's charming, and he's probably such a good prince. I mean, you don't know what the Feywild thinks would be a good ruler, but you do know that it's a little bit more dangerous than what you would assume what a good ruler would need to be, and he feels a little bit dangerous, but in a very calming way. And he definitely is a phenomenal public speaker, very charismatic. And I'll give it to you for free. The crowd loves him. They support him. Okay.
Okay.
There is a brief moment where you start to see out of the corner of your eye, you hear first music begin. Music strikes up and it begins to get, hopefully this is the right piece. Nope. This is a little too dark. We're going back to this. It's not what I thought it was. Okay. Sorry, music issues. But you begin to hear court musicians playing something a little bit lively, and you watch as dancing across the stage in front of Queen Titania and Prince Sorvin is a satyr. He has an elaborate arrangement of flowers woven through his very impressive tall horns. He's wearing such an embroidered doublet in, every shade of gold and red and orange. Like, so many shades of it. And he looks so excited. And he has a calm, kind face and a goatee that hangs down, and has kind of like a really cool looking belt that has pipes, like little wooden pan pipes hanging from it. And his hooves are gleaming, and he clops out onto there, looking so delighted. He produces a scroll that is so decorative on the back, and he lets it drop. And it goes down and long, and you hear laughter begin. It looks like he's doing this kind of for comedic effect. And he... and his voice begins to carry easily, and you can tell that he's comfortable up here. Right, yes. Hello, I am Fen, court musician, keeper of court gossip, court history, and your guide through what promises to be the most entertaining several months this court has seen since the incident with the enchanted topiary, there we go, which we don't discuss, but I remember vividly, and I'm sure some of you do too. Now, I have been asked, honored, truly, genuinely honored, to introduce our competitors this evening. I've done some extensive research, some of it was even authorized, and without any further ceremony, he gestures grandly, and you hear a musical fanfare in the back, and he, perks up, and, Roll me. I'm gonna call this a charisma check because that's like you're a musician, so I'm gonna call this a charisma check.
Okay.
Okay.
13.
With a 13, he's accomplished, and the way that he's speaking in time with the music, he's likely arranged the music specifically for this speech. So he's like, this is a presentation that he has meticulously put together to be entertaining. So he gestures, and he gestures to the other side of the line from where you are on. So it looks like he's starting from the other side of the line. We have Lysander of the Summer Court. He is a noble of the highest order, a veteran of the summer solstice celebration for several centuries. He is tall, radiant, always impeccably dressed, and has been preparing for this competition since approximately the day our prince was born. He brings with him the full weight of the summer court, of political connection, and a confidence that I can only describe as architectural in ambition. We wish him every success. Are you peeking around to try to get eyes on these people, or are you just kind of, you're part of the presentation too, so, or are you just standing?
No, I'm peeking because I want to see who I'm, air quotations, competing with.
Absolutely. Okay, so you lean down, go ahead, he's the furthest out, so I hate to make you roll. Go ahead and roll a perception check. And I'm gonna keep your perception check through this whole thing, and I'll describe to you what they look like. Based on the, oh no, with a 6. All you see...
Which I can't see.
All you see is, there's definitely some larger figures in this line, and you can't see around them, but all you see is very long ears and very bright blonde hair. That's all you see. You do hear a large cheering from the crowd. He seems to be the fan favorite. You also hear a bunch of fanboys and girls squealing, "Lysander!" So, one of them, I'm not going to try to put together Lysander's name and Sorvin's name, but they definitely put them together in like a ship name. I'll come up with it later because it's funny, but there's some people shouting the ship name too.
Nice.
Next, we have Briar of the Old Growth. She's an elder dryad bound to the oldest oak other than our great ol' Aramir here in the summer courts in the eastern reaches, which puts her age at, well, age is a number we don't say aloud in polite company now. She has attended courts that no longer exist. She has outlasted monarchies. She is serene and ancient and so beautiful, if I do say so myself. But she does that thing where she doesn't blink quite enough, and I personally find it very unnerving, and I want that on record. But we are delighted she is here, and we are choosing to interpret her interest in the prince as a compliment. You kind of look down, and you can't see too much with a 6. She seems to be a shorter figure. And next, we have Pip. Just Pip. They've asked me to just say Pip. Our good old Corrid friend here. Court adjacent. Their hair has changed color twice since they arrived this morning, and it currently appears to contain what I believe is a live moth. And they have already introduced themselves to most of the kitchen staff by name, which I find very endearing. They entered this competition by submitting an application written entirely in verse, which was the most charming thing I have ever read, or maybe the most alarming. They are, in this musician's professional opinion, going to be extraordinary to watch. They've already asked me 3 things I cannot repeat in this hall and tipped me twice the going rate, so I'm rooting for them. And you kind of get like an instinct to look down, and you look down underneath what is definitely a centaur later in the line, and between the centaur's legs, you see a creature that looks like a satyr, but mini and so rotund. So they have like black fur and hooves and are very, very rotund and with like a grayish skin and a huge mass of hair that goes up almost a foot. They're like maybe only 3 feet tall. And indeed there is a moth floating around their head. Next, we have Sable, formerly of the Court Royal Carrier Service. One of our good old Haragon friends. Do you know what a Haragon is, Chase?
Nope.
They're the rabbit folk.
Ah.
So it's like, essentially, like a tabaxi is a cat folk, they're a rabbit folk. So, although Orpheus doesn't know that, but for your visuals, you know that. Former royal messenger, which means that she has been to every corner of this court, every reach of the summer territories, and every corner of likely other courts. She is a face of information, and looks like she's always thinking of something else when she's actually thinking of you. She submitted the most concisely worded entry application I've ever processed. One sentence. I still think about it. Very quick and sharp-witted, and wildly underestimated by everyone in this room, I'm telling you now. And so now you'll estimate her. Lovely to have you, Sable. And indeed you see, kind of looking down, a little bit of what looks to be, hair, probably 4 feet tall and humanoid. Next, we have Caspian, son of the Silver Hill Satyrs. Yes, we'll acknowledge the solidarity here. Also a musician, and you can tell that Fen, he introduced himself, the court musician who's giving this presentation, definitely loves this guy. Player of the pipes, which he has already offered to demonstrate 3 times this evening, despite being asked to wait because it might come in handy later. Composer of what he tells me are original songs. He is charming in the way that makes you feel like you've known someone for years when it's been 10 minutes. But make sure to check your pockets, I say with love. Satyr to satyr, he gets it. He's a menace and I like him already. And you hear another cheer go up. It seems that this one's also another crowd favorite. And if you, like, whip around to look, you see that it's, like, a group of satyrs. Some of them look, like, super drunk already, and several of them are, like, waving around drinks that are spilling everywhere, and several of them are waving around instruments. Next, we have Zephyrine of the Gilded Wing. Please adjust your eyeline. She is indeed there. Do not let the scale fool you. Our little fairy friend is here to compete. I say this with complete sincerity and a genuine awareness. She can hear everything I say from anywhere in this room. She has more political intelligence in one wing than most of the court has in its entirety, and she has only been here for 4 hours. She already knows things she should not know. She has given me a demonstration, and I'm choosing to take that information to my grave. She is extraordinary and terrifying and the size of my hand, and has the presence of a weather event. We're glad that she is here. You cannot see a small fairy. I'm so sorry.
It is fine.
Next, we have Rowan of the Autumn Court, the noble of the turning leaves. A good old Eladrin warrior, the only competitor tonight who comes to us from a sister court. A gesture of alliance between the autumn and summer courts during these difficult times. They are honorable to a degree that is almost uncomfortable to witness, and so formal in a way that is old. They fight with a skill that I'm told made of 3 of our guard captains, and you hear like a stiff kind of noise, a clanking behind you. Go very quiet when they sparred this afternoon. They're also, and I say this with genuine warmth, the only competitor who thanked the staff. By name, all 4 of them. Welcome, Solenthier Rowan. We will try to deserve you. Next, we have Mira of the Golden Herd. Our good old noble centaur warrior of the herd who has fought alongside the summer court since the beginning of the current conflict. She is here, and the armor, I'm told, is formal armor, which is different than combat armor, though a distinction is perhaps lost on those of us who are not centaurs. She is the bearing of someone who has never lost a fight, and the expression of someone who is calculating how long the ceremony is going to take. The answer is almost done, Mira, I promise you. She has agreed to compete, and the court is grateful, and anyone who wishes to make a comment about her chances in more of the social events is welcome to do so directly to her face and see what happens. And you hear a laughter behind you, and you look over and you can see Mira, because she's large. She is a centaur with a dark brown, chocolatey brown coat, not a speck on her, that melds into her human torso that like comes up at the top. She has tanned skin, a very stern face, and hair that is pulled back in the most stern, slick back bun you've ever seen, in ornate armor. And her expression does not change. And oh, she's the one directly next to you, so no wonder you can see shit. But Fen pauses. He looks at the scroll. He looks at you, the line of competitors. He looks back at the scroll. He looks back at the line of competitors. He does count. And he goes, it appears we have our 9th. He turns to you. Our final competitor comes to us from, well, very quite far away, very far. This is the fabled human prince from the material plane. Now, be gracious with him. He has no formal training of Fey court etiquette, though I do hope his court training in the land of Illumiland proves him right. He is, I must say, one of the most interesting things to walk into this court in a very long time. And he smiles at you and is making direct eye contact. And it's a very genuine, warm grin. And it's kind of an acknowledgement, but also at the same time, like, he doesn't know you, so he can't say anything about your abilities. But he seems to be sizing you up in, like, a way. I'm gonna give this to you for free because he's very charismatic and he wants to present this to you. It looks like he wouldn't mind being friends. He's a very friendly person, and a very genuine person from what you can tell.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed others of every variety, the court of the Summer Queen presents itself with the 9th competitor for the hand of Prince Sorvin and our final competitor, Orpheus. And he gestures to the ensemble music and a fanfare begins, and it is way more enthusiastic than the others. And he kind of grins at you and winks. The applause begins to wear down and barely settling as it falls silent as once again the queen raises her hand. She does not stand, but she raises her hand. 9. How delightful. Her eyes look around you and they briefly pause on you, and again you feel just like the prickle in the back of your head. You've been introduced to my court. You've heard my son speak. You've had the considerable pleasure of Fen's commentary, which is always thorough. Fen bows with great enthusiasm, but she's not looking at him. What happens now is simple. You are guests in Solenthier Palace. You will be housed, fed, clothed, and attended to with the full hospitality this court is offering. You will find your rooms prepared, your needs anticipated, and the staff, should you treat them with the appropriate respect, extraordinarily helpful. Should you not treat them with the appropriate respect, I trust the palace itself will communicate our expectations clearly. There's one thing I ask of you before the second competition begins. The first competition has already begun. You are to offer a gift. Not purchased, not borrowed. Made or found. Something that is chosen by you, an effort, presented to my son at a time of your choosing throughout the entirety of this competition. No deadline other than the final conclusion in months' time. There's no format. You may take a day, you may take months, and the timing will say something. What you choose will say something. How you present it and give your gift will say something. Everything here says something, so I would encourage you to begin to think about it carefully and deciding what it is you want to say. Consider this first challenge a gift, an introduction, not to this court, but to my son. of who you are. Tonight, you will dine together as courtesy of the crown. This is the first and possibly last time the competition will give you things so uncomplicated. Rest, eat well. The court is beautiful in the morning, and I recommend experiencing it before things are asked of you. And tomorrow you will receive a letter. When you do, the second event begins. I suggest you sleep while sleeping is simple. And she rises. And you, like, watch out of the corner of your eye. Those who are sitting rise with her. Like, almost reflexively. Welcome to Solenthier. Welcome to the summer court. Welcome to what I hope for your sake and my son's and mine to be the most remarkable experience of your very considerable lives. Her eyes will look down the competitors one last time. Do try to be worthy of it. She leaves, sweeping out off the path into a side room that you cannot see, and the music strikes up again. People are cheering, you hear music behind you and things, and the night has just begun. And I think that with the introduction of the competition, the introduction of the competitors, is where we will end our episode and session.
Yay!
Yay! And next time you'll have a little bit more of information about the competitors. You'll get to know them and interact with them. You'll get to think on your first competition and anxiously await the second competition letter in the morning.
Yeah.
So, this is where we leave Orpheus for today. Maybe one step closer to home, and maybe one step deeper into the other world. So, thank you for spending time with us in our version of the Feywild. The Glamour and Grief is a bit of a labor of love. We are equal parts some psychological horror, but a little bit different than you've seen before. Some romantic disaster, and one man's ongoing war against his own terrible decision-making or terrible luck. What you think. Let me know. If this world is pulling you in the way it pulls Orpheus, we would love if you followed along wherever you are listening. You can find the full podcast both at Muses Mythos, posted on YouTube and Spotify. If you want to see, Chase, you're going to do some animatics of the campaign and art. You are an amazing artist, and I'm so excited to see what you come up with. So make sure you head on over. Do you want to shout out your Instagram and TikTok?
You can follow me on Stanamart. I usually just post reels about myself. Very relatable. So, yeah.
Yes. As well as stuff from this campaign, too. So all of those will be linked in descriptions of wherever you are so that they're easy to find. If you're enjoying, leave a review or a comment. This goes a long way. It helps other people who are also totally deeply normal about D&D and Fey romance. So, I will leave you with this. The Feywild does not give gifts freely, but we are glad that you are here anyway, so watch your step on the way out.